Here we are in a farm shop in Oxfordshire. The farm shop and delicatessen sector is burgeoning in the UK and Ireland, stocking a whole range of local, regional, homemade, handmade and specialty products. For the consumer, that means more choice and a range of products that they may not see on the shelves of their major stores.
Well, I've been working with artisan food producers for around about 12 years, and often what they find is that after they've developed the products and they're selling at farmers markets and they're selling through perhaps local consumer food events, the next logical step is to move into retail, and so we chose the farm shop and deli cluster because most of them aspire to sell to farm shops, delis and independent retailers. Well, initially what happens is when they're selling to farm shops, they need to have a retail ready product, and often through selling at farmers markets and direct to the consumer, perhaps the packaging and point of sale and the branding hasn't really had to be that spectacular. The products have had to stand on their own, but it's often the investment in packaging and branding and just making sure that their product's got shelf presence that's something that they need help with initially.
We're called the Garden Centre Group. We've got 126 garden centres across the country. We specialise in garden-related products. Obviously, plants is the main focus of our business. So the food aspect of our business is growing in a number of stores, but the scale of that is very different depending on the size of the centre. They spread from Cornwall right up to Northumberland, but we are predominantly sort of southernly based. And we've got 3 stores in Wales: Swansea, Cardiff and Carmarthen. Well, at Bicester, in our largest store, we've got at least 50 suppliers. As a company, I work with probably now well over 100 suppliers, and that includes wholesalers. That doesn't include the brands that we then purchase from them. We do work with a number of Welsh suppliers. In the Welsh stores, we work up to about 10, and we are constantly looking for new suppliers. Out of Wales, we work with the whole blueberry sauces, and we work with Anne's Patisserie and Sugar and Spice. And as I say, we're constantly looking to improve that offering. Packaging is very important. I mean, it has to be robust for our customers, but it's something it has to be able to withstand to be picked up, put down, moved around the centre, so it has to be robust. The look and feel of the packaging has to be right. A range needs to tie together. It's everything. If you've got a range of 10 products, it's important that it looks cohesive as a range and not individual. I do go to a majority of the shows. The important ones for me are Food Expo and Speciality in September. If someone is coming to me direct, I prefer personally to have a phone call rather than email. It's nice to build up that instant relationship, and that way you get hold of me direct straight away. If you know someone that's already working with us, then feel free to give me a ring. Awards are important. They're gradually becoming recognised by the consumer now, which is obviously what it's all about, really. It's very nice to have them, but if they're not recognised, then it will be lost. So I think from my side of things, it's about we've got to market it so that the consumer knows what the awards are or what the awards are about. But I suppose on a regional basis, you can look at your local awards, but on a national basis, the Great Taste Awards are definitely a good one to have. To set a price that is feasible for everyone to make a margin from. If you're coming direct, then you need to consider what your minimum order quantities will be. We work on, as a company, we can't pay delivery charges, and so therefore you need to consider what your minimum delivery would be to include that, and not as an addition. It can be frustrating if you've got someone coming to you with a minimum delivery in their mind, but then you've got a minimum delivery charge on top of that. One of our main issues is getting customers to actually pick the product off the shelf and try it. So that's why sampling for us is a very important aspect. If we've just launched a new product, it's definitely worth having sampling occasions, and even if you can't get there yourself, communicate with the centres direct and send in some sampling products. And the centres, the majority of the centres are able to run their own sampling sessions. Some key things to think about are packaging, to include barcodes. Need to think about delivery costs, and also take into account actually boxes and how you're actually going to get it to us. Sampling and communication with myself and centres, and then also definitely consider rewards and which ones are the best ones to have for your products.
3 years ago we decided to open Cwmcerrig Farm Shop and Grill, and this is where we are now. Most of the beef, turkey and lamb is our own, and the chickens and ducks for Christmas are all from this farm, and we got free range eggs as well. We've got, I think there's nearly 40 suppliers from Cwmcerrig. There's nearly 90 suppliers to the shop with different things from Wales. When we built this, first of all, it was to sell our own meat and produce in the shop to get the end price. That's what we built it for. We opened the cafe to sell the byproducts, the help with the forequarter. That was the idea. The shop is supposed to be about Cwmcerrig. That's what we want the shop for. That was our big interest. Much as possible from Cwmcerrig, to be from our county, then Wales, and then further. Don't go over the top on packaging. Keep it simple, straightforward. Ideally, show some if it's a jam, show some of the jam. Don't cover it all up, and keep it away from looking like a supermarket. Very important here. If it looks boxed up too much like a supermarket, it don't sell. If they've got a tidy product and the packaging and everything looks tidy, we will give it shelf space. And my words to them are, if it sells, we'll have a repeat order. And if it doesn't sell, you won't have a repeat order. It's down to the customer. Quite a few of the new producers who come in with stuff, they do try and ask a bit of exorbitant prices, but then they come more realistic, because to run a shop like this with the staff, it's not like a supermarket. We've got to work on a minimum of a third or we won't exist. Between full-time and part-time, there's 60-odd staff here. Because we're open 7 days a week, so they're all on rota. Some of the weekend staff work 1 day a week, some work 2, some work 3. It's all different rotas. We've got quite a customer base travelling for an hour just over to us, so they'll travel from about as far as Newport, across to Abergavenny, across to Machynlleth, and then right down to the cross. We've done some paper advertising, not very happy with that, the feedback of that. We advertise on 7 radio stations, it's quite good, but we decided to go, we spent a lot of money here. If we're going to go for it, we've got to go full out, and we go on it. We started on S4C, people started coming in, and we do questionnaires to know where you found us, where you come into, and the feedback is television is the best advertising we've done, beyond doubt. It's expensive, but it's really worthwhile. We're always looking for Welsh products. Everywhere I go a day out, the wife's always moaning me, because that's all I'm doing is looking for products. We need more products for the shop. It's never ending. In the shop we do vouchers, and we've sent vouchers to Ireland and France. And there was a woman in here beginning of the week, she was buying a hamper to go to her family in France. We get a fair bit of it. For the producer, if they wanted to bring stuff here, would be to not go over the top of the packaging, keep it simple, leave the product show itself, and if you've got a good product, the product will sell itself. Keep it so it looks original, don't make it look false.
My name is Sandy Boyd, and I'm Managing Director of Furness Farm Limited, which is in the process of setting up the Bodnant Welsh Food Centre in the Conwy Valley in North Wales. we're looking for at least 70% of what we sell to be Welsh and sourced from within Wales. I'm hoping that over half of that's going to come from North Wales, so the emphasis is very much on local food. And then we will choose the best of Europe, because if you've got a food shop or a farm shop and you're attracting foodies and people that are interested in food, you've got to be able to offer them the Parma hams, the Brie de Meaux and things like that complete the range, really. We've just recently had a Meet the Buyer session, or a couple of days in fact, and I think we probably saw something in the region of 15 to 20 Barabriths. And now we sit down, and what we've actually done is we've done a competition. We've got everybody involved in the offices where we're based to vote for their favourite product, and so we're choosing that particular product on taste. But the product that wins the sales battle will be the one that is packaged and presented, and the company that does the most promotion and that works with us to attract the customer's eye, because ultimately it is the customer that decides whether a product is successful or not. We've seen last week some of the most exciting products that I think I've seen in the last 15 years. But I could have shouted at the producer and just told, well, I wanted to tell them to shut up and listen, because they were so tied up with the product that they had that they weren't listening to what we needed as a retailer to help them. We're trying to work. It has to be a partnership. We've got an experience of our customers. We've got a knowledge of what sells well, what positions well, what sits well on the shelf. You can have a pack that is put into cellophane that falls over, and therefore it's flat and invisible. But if you were to put that in a cellophane bag with a bottom on it so that it stands up, it's never going to fall over, and therefore it's going to sell. It's just simple little things like that. And so when we talk to our suppliers and say, would you mind or would you consider, if they're not prepared to listen, we switch off. When you've not got that face-to-face contact, and face-to-face contact is obviously the best way to do it. Like any kind of communication, it's two-way, it's oral, it's taste, so you hit all the senses. If you're then communicating via email, it's not good enough just to send a price list, because a price list is flat, and if I were in a wholesaling business and I were comparing baked beans, then I might be interested in seeing a price list. But for specialty foods, I need to have some sort of an idea of what that product looks like. And we've already had those kind of approaches where somebody sent us a price list and I've written back and said, what does your product look like? Can you send me a photograph? The mainstream supermarket products that you see nowadays all started off supplying farm shops in our early days, and if you look at those companies and those brands that have seen the test of time, that have grown on to develop, they're the ones that spend the time on supporting their product and supporting the producers, and getting out there and talking to the consumer and really stamping their personality onto their product. Those are the ones that have survived, ones that have carried on investing in packaging, in presentation, in point of sale, and just generally supporting their product, putting the effort in. Because without that support, you're never going to make it really work. You get a piece in the local paper, then you get a little blip on your Google Analytics. If you get a radio interview, then you'll get a slightly bigger blip. If you get a TV comment, then it goes through the roof. and it sustains as well. That's the beauty of satellite TV, is that the numerous repeats means that you keep getting another hit and another hit. And so if you can get those PR opportunities for your own brand, it is an absolutely hugely helpful thing. And of course the retailers all get that spin-off benefit.
Hi, my name is Cwmcerrig and I am one of the owners of Blueberries. We are a blueberry farm on the Welsh-Shropshire border, and we create blueberry-based sauces, syrups, salad dressings and drink mixes. Currently we distribute our product through outlets such as delicatessens, farm shops and the occasional garden centre as well. As a small producer entering into the independent delicatessen market, we learnt that they're actually very open and they're very keen to get new producers into their stores. It keeps their stores fresh and keeps their stores interesting. The first customers that we met were actually at food festivals, such as the Ludlow Food Centre we got through a food festival. Later we were very lucky to be included in the Welsh Deli Showcase, which is part of the Cluster project. And from there we managed to get into places like Cwmcerrig and the Garden Centre Group, and as far away as Lewis & Cooper in York as well. In the last couple of years, I think the thing which we learnt most of is not to be afraid to talk to people. I find it very nerve-wracking to go and call somebody cold on the spur of the moment to have a chat about our products. But what we've learnt through the Cluster Group is, through a bit of training and a bit of guidance, that it's not so frightening, and people are actually very keen to talk and very keen to find out about new products. And we've gone on from there, and it's working very well for us. We find it imperative to go into stores and teach the staff and the customers about our products. We are a very unique product and a very unusual product, and people aren't necessarily 100% sure what it is right from the get-go. So we like to go in and we like to give them the chance to taste it, to get used to it and to learn to love it. The future for Blue is distribution. We're finding it very difficult at the moment to get our products safely to market. So we're looking at distribution companies, wholesalers, and further into the future, some export would be an interesting challenge. I think the logical step for producers is to start small. You've got to know that your product works, and you've got to know that you've got a market for it. So what we did was we started off at the farmers markets and the food festivals, and we got a really good feeling for it. And the honesty of the customers at those shows is such that it allows you to trial your product really successfully. They are very honest with you, and if they don't like it, they will tell you. And counter, if they do like it, they'll be over the moon. After that, it's off to the trade shows. Get your product in front of the major buyers of multiples, if that's where you want to go, or the independents, farm shops and delicatessens. And there are any number of shows of which you can go and do that.